Welcome to Midlife Unfiltered. I do apologize if you are a subscriber and got a couple of earlier emails. Still got my training wheels on, and it's my first three-way on Substack, so a bit nervous and trial and error, gotta say. But I am really, really excited to bring you these two beautiful women in this conversation today, friends of mine. We're going to talk about that friendship today because we are talking about connection and the importance of connection, particularly in midlife and as we age. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the whole longevity principle around there's four kind of pillars to living well longer. One of those is eating well. The other is moving and exercising. Got to keep moving, girls. And there's sleep and rest. And the fourth, if my finger will join in, is social connection. Now, I happen to be away today with these beautiful women, and I thought, why not take advantage of that time to talk about connection and the importance of connection in midlife and beyond? And they have kindly jumped in. Fiona has way
Have us kindly.
so I love that. And Christy's always up for anything. So that's given, which is fantastic. So ladies, welcome to Midlife Unfiltered. Say hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Thanks for having us. It's quite an interesting setup we have here.
So originally we were
Not
going
sure
to
about sound, because I can hear you're very loud.
everybody's voices in the background work. So we've each gone to a bedroom and a lounge room. Are you comfy there, Fiona?
Now I've just got myself on a cushion.
No. Okay, so if we know why.
Yeah, I can feel. I can hear a lot of feedback coming through. Someone's got something on very loud, so that's playing loud.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't hear it
Anyway.
anyway. We're fine. So, longevity and the importance of connectivity and connection. I would like to start, as we often do in Midlife Unfiltered, going to the good book of Brene. And Brene, one of these days I know you're going to tune in, so thank you for all that you do. And Brene writes about connection and disconnection in Atlas of the Heart. And I'll just read a passage from there. She quotes a theorist called Jordan, who writes, "The need for connection in which growth is a priority is the core motivation in people's lives. In growth fostering relationships, people are able to bring themselves most fully and authentically into connection. From an evolution perspective, connection was about survival. Today, it's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. Research shows that people who have strong connection with others are happier, healthier, and better able to cope with the stresses of everyday. Across my research, this is Brene talking now, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. Connection is in our neurobiology. I just love that, when they derive sustenance and strength from a relationship. It's so good. And then we've got the good old meta studies that are out there that give a bit of scientific backup to this phenomenon as well, or this importance of having connection. And I found one this morning that said that studies show that social isolation increases the risk of all-cause mortality by 26 to 33%. Even after accounting for factors like life, age, health, behaviours, and chronic illness. I'd call that pretty damn fundamentally important, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So today, the girls and I are going to share our story and our connection piece. And why don't we start, ladies, with how this came to be? How did we meet? Who wants to go?
Fiona, I think you say this beautifully. I think you say how we first connected. Please share it.
Good on you, girls. We all were in different ways connected with a business group, and it was the big early days of COVID. And through that business group, there was a opportunity to join a goals group to help you meet your goals in your business, and we all submitted our interest in that, and somehow the goals group gods put us together, and through those early years of COVID, we were chatting every week, and it was an awesome way to navigate that time with other people with businesses, just all different businesses, but we all had common problems and issues and concerns and fears, and I just found the support that we got from each other pretty much straight away. We'd never met. We were all in different states. There were actually 5 of us to start with. We're still friends with the other 2, but unfortunately they're not here. But for me, it was just a great way to meet new people who had similar interests to me. And I don't know, I'm just very grateful that 5 years later we're still catching up, and now it's in person because it was on Zoom for years. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too. And
Yes.
I agree with Fiona in that, it was a very critical time for all of us because we were adapting our business while we were online, but it was more than just the business. If I could go back and listen to all of the conversations that we had every week, business was only a very small part of it, actually. It
Yeah.
was the emotions behind what we were struggling with. It was family situations. We had children going through similar stages in life. And we're now coming out of it 5 years after having first met, 5 and a bit years, and the business actually isn't the driving force behind the connection anymore, which I love. It's the
Mm.
personal. Mm.
It's the friendships. And for us, after having met online and been online for probably 2 or so years, we decided that we needed to meet in person and give each other a hug. And
Yeah.
so what we do is because we are literally scattered in different states, we choose a location each year and come together once a year. So this year we are in Victoria, which is Fiona's home state. I'm in Queensland and Christy's in New South Wales. So we are literally scattered, and it's just wonderful. And I just love that we make it a priority, right? We set the time aside for each other and we come together. What is it, do you think, that you get out of this time that we have together, this long weekend that we choose to have?
Your
Fiona?
turn, Chris.
All right, I'll go first. There we go. Look, it's a really interesting one, and we talk. We always talk about this anyway. But for me, with the pressures of running a family, I've got 2 kids that are young adults. Still at school, my final one. Running a global business, running a big team, the stresses of work, the stresses of keeping my health under control. I just find for me the real benefit out of this connection is reconnecting with myself. And I'm able to do that when I come away with you both because I don't have those other stresses that I'm having to necessarily deal with in the 2 days, 3 days that we're away. And I can have conversations that I might not have on a daily basis with my husband, my kids. We can talk about real issues that we're facing, but it's interesting, it's different. I was saying to the girls that I don't have the headspace to read a book when I'm at home. I can't focus, I can't concentrate. The minute I know that I'm going away with you, I can pick up a book from the airport and I'll finish that book before I head home because my whole nervous system relaxes and I feel like I'm just in this state of comfort and reset. So that's what I get out of it.
Yeah, lovely. So you get multiple things I heard there. So if your own wellness, health and
Yep.
wellness play, it's very much your own time. And I think you touched on a really important point, is it creating that space, that valuable space and separation from day-to-day life, and then join in the conversations where you feel really comfortable and secure enough. And we often sit in silence, don't we? We're next to each other, but we are quite happy with having that talk
Yes.
coming.
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, that's right. And if I can also, I mean, if I can also just share that, and Anita, we've talked about this before, is, as women, sometimes, and particularly if we're not the breadwinners in the family, and from a financial perspective, we feel like we can't ask to spend money to do
Yeah,
things for ourselves or take that time away because you might be saving for a family holiday, or you might be, it's always saving money for to put away into the mortgage, to do the family, and you might not feel comfortable actually saying, "Well, no, I'd like to go away and spend, $1,000 for a weekend to see my friends and have that time." For a long time, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. For a long time, and when I say a long time, I mean up until recently as 5 years ago, I didn't feel comfortable, and now I don't even ask my husband, I just tell him when I'm going away. So, it's that sense of really claiming and owning the fact that you need this time, and actually they need this time with you being away, because you're always doing things. You're always there. You're always supporting them. You're always doing things. It's actually really nice for them and almost relaxing for them to not have you around for a few days just to kind of reset, the family as well. That's what I think.
yeah, they're all wonderful, wonderful thoughts on that, Christy. Thank you. There's so much wrapped up
Mhm.
in that.
It
Um,
is.
now, what about for you, Fiona?
Certainly. Um, Probably very similar things, but I just love um, sharing time with you girls because it's seeing people who I don't see every day or every week or every month. And so you're just learning about new things and hearing about different, and you live in different states. And, we compare notes on where we've had holidays and what our kids, we've all got very parallel lives, really. Kids who are young adults, aging parents, partners who are approaching retirement and, well, I'm a little bit older than both of you, so that's a bit more on my radar. But I just really cherish the time that we get to just share our journeys and talk about them and laugh and I do. I just learn a lot from you too. Yeah, yeah. Um, your worlds bring a lot to me. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel the same. If I could mush together everything you've both said, it
Mm,
is definitely, this is my time. As you say, Christy, I was very much the same. Felt like I couldn't. There was always something else that would come before me as a priority. And that was a lot of my own doing in my own head. It wasn't necessarily always expected, certainly not from my husband. That was me doing that and setting
mm,
treasure this time and very much look forward to it because um, nothing gets in the way of it, and it is completely ours, and we can be completely present with each other. And like you said, Fiona, you learn a lot from us. I feel the same way. This is a time for great growth for us, and I think in midlife in particular, I can see now the importance of gathering with my girlfriends in particular, to feel probably something that's been missing from, certainly from my life personally. We led a very nomadic lifestyle, being military family. So I never had that, you know, friends from school and then through life in the one spot. That never happened for me. So to be able to forge these friendships now, albeit through a business connection, uh,
mm,
is really important and something that I know nourishes my soul. So thank you.
Mm. I love
Thank-
that, Fiona, and it's interesting that you say that, the parallel lives and so on, because I'm exactly the same as you with regards to not having that connection. My father moved us around every 3 years, not through
mm,
military, but through engineering and so on. And so, similar to you, I don't have what, our kids might have, because we've kept them in one place for so long, hoping that they get that in their life. So you're
mm.
right. This makes it all the more important.
Mm. Yeah. So how do you think, um, so looking at it from a longevity point of view, how do you think this will help us to age better well? Fiona?
I just think having people in your life that you know that even if they're not there every day, you can pick up the phone and they'll be there for you, whether it's you sharing something that you're excited about or just checking in or sharing life's ups and downs. I just think friendships, no matter where they are, and with technology today, you don't have to be close by, and you can still feel very connected, but you still, I think my friendship with both of you, it's not something that needs to be fed all the time. But when we do see each other, it's just easy. You just pick up where we left off, and that's a really comfortable feeling, and it's a nice feeling, and I feel very lucky to have that. So it's a benefit of, for me, it's a benefit of COVID. It's the best thing that came out of it, from a difficult time. It was because I would not have met either of you had we not been going through that time. So, and it's interesting, isn't it? There's people out there in the world. There's Tim. I love Tim Minchin, and Tim Minchin has a amazing song that is one of my favourites, and my husband hates it. But anyway, he says to his wife, "If I hadn't have met you, I would have met someone else." Because even if you're one in a million, there's a billion people in the world, and so there's and it's proved that just having those few little common interests, I guess, brought us together, and that probably keeps feeding it and keeps us together. And so I hope that it's a long-term thing, that we'll continue our tradition for years to come. But if we don't, there's other ways. Even if we can't catch up in person, we can still stay connected, and it's I think it's a very important thing for everyone to have people in their world. And I think the world at the moment can be a very lonely place for a lot of people. And so you do have to make an effort, but the effort's worth it. So yeah.
I think loneliness is the key to this conversation with regards to connection. And I'm naturally a person who likes to talk to people, not in the way that, I'm not an extrovert by any means, but I do like having nice relationships and people that I can, that I can trust and that I can be around easily. And with that, I think that stops loneliness for me. Like, I definitely feel that I've got a number of very core friends that if I'm feeling like I need to talk to someone, it's really easy for me to pick up the phone. But we're all over the world, and it's not necessary to have in person. It's fabulous when you do, and I think that connection keeps the longevity of not seeing someone in person for periods of time going, because you build that solid connection, whether it be like we're doing for 2 days, whether it be a girlfriend that I'm seeing for, half a day in Melbourne that I haven't seen for a year as well. You feel like you've never, ever had the break. You feel like you've just gone. And I think it's, Fiona, you're right, it's those connections. But one thing I wanted to say is around modeling and, what you model for your family, for the people around you, your kids particularly. My parents have modeled long friendships very well for me. And so, or even though we moved consistently, they've had friends that they went to university with that they still do something with. They travel with them consistently. Every year they go away and they have holidays. They catch up with them like this, but it's an engineer's event that they all catch up with. And so that's really been modeled to me in a way that it doesn't matter that you've lived in 100 different locations through your life. The fact that you've developed something strong at a certain point and you've been able to nurture that and foster that over time, however that may look, is the key importance for me. So us nurturing this, no matter what, as long as it feels right to do so, that will keep it going and it will keep us wanting to stay connected.
Yeah. That's my wish and my want to. I believe
Mm.
this is a core part of me aging well, is to
Mm.
have the friendship with you too, and to keep that going and to keep
Mm.
nurturing it. Like anything, right? You've got to work at it. I'm not that this is a laborious task by any means, but saying that yes,
I don't
let's
know.
let it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're a bit of hard work.
Yeah, very hard work.
Yes, both you're rosy and glowing beautifully. I just think it's really it's like a lot of things. If you want to reap the benefits, you reap what you sow. And um, whilst it's easy when we're together, we do have to prioritize it and go, "Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it again, and let's carve out the time, and let's pick a
Mm.
place, and let's organize it and do it." And for me, I know as I'm getting older that these female connections are going to mean more and more. Not that I don't love being a husband, I absolutely do, and day to day. But these these highlights in my calendar in the year will mean a
Mhm.
lot going forward, and
Mm.
they will nurture my soul too and keep
Mm.
me well.
Mm.
And like you say, that the opposite is disconnection and loneliness, and statistics are kind of saying, if you don't have it, your health suffers up to what is it,
Mm.
33%.
It's not an
So
option.
it's
Mm.
not. It's not.
Mm.
So, particularly in midlife, when we are re-evaluating a lot of things in our lives, I often think of my dear dad, who I lost early this year. But he got to a point where he said, "No more. I don't want any more friends. Like that's it." And I think that was his.
Mm.
I just really want to be present and nurture
Mm.
the ones that I've got, and the ones that I do have
Yes.
mean the world to me, and
Yes.
that's most. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can kick off all the other stuff that doesn't matter so much. Let's
I
just
know.
focus.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It has to mean something. Mm.
Mm. Well, that's it. Maybe you have women in your life and friendships that are meaning more and more to you as you're aging. So if that's the case, let us know. Pop in some comments in the show in the post and let us know. But I think that's a wrap, girls. What do you reckon? Anything else you
My God.
want to?
No,
I just
I've
want to say one thing.
Mhm.
Well done, Fiona. No, I just want to say one thing that connects connection to belonging, and which is a little bit similar to connection to loneliness. Belonging kind of goes hand in hand with not feeling lonely when you feel like you belong somewhere, and connecting that to longevity. And I spoke to you both about this earlier today. My grandmother, who was 101, she passed away earlier this year as well. Incredible woman. She went through life seeing all of her friends passing away, and she kept living because she did meaningful connected things in her life up until she was 92. She lived in Newcastle, still wandering down to the local swimming baths, and she would do, a little bit of a swim, but it wasn't about the swim, it was about the people that were still going down there that she could talk to, and she could, have those conversations and feeling like, because she's a local for 30 years, that she kind of knew everybody. And then when that stopped and, kids and grandkids and whatever got busy with their own lives and their own children, we saw that she was becoming more and more disconnected, because we weren't around as much, we weren't doing as much, and she wasn't going to her bridge games because everyone had passed on, and she didn't have those activities to connect. It was a lot harder. So for her 90th birthday, we bought her an iPad. And that iPad basically it was it was our way of connecting her. But at 90, we showed her how to send an email. She'd never ever been able to do that. And also how to see the shared photo streams that we were connecting her with, so that every time we all went on holidays, every time we were doing things that were important in our families, she was able to see that and she was able to comment on that, and she flourished. she went into a nursing home, and towards the last 10 years of her life, and she was able to still message us and connect. And so she felt a sense of belonging, and even when she lost her sight and her hearing, and she really didn't have anything that she could connect with anymore, it still resonated, and that connection still kept her going for longer. It's so I think belonging to me, when I think about as we age and as we, continue through, and Fiona, you were talking about blue zone stuff and about how com- community and, being part of something and belonging and having things to do every day. I think that's the thing. So if we have friends that we can continue to talk to and do things with, I just think that's going to give us a long, happy life.
Yeah, what a blessing. Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
big story. Thanks for sharing that, Christy. I love that. And we don't often think about that, the fact that the longer you live, if those around you don't live as long, then
Mhm.
the way
Yeah.
that we become
Yeah.
disconnected. And yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
And I love that your granny, taught herself how to email at 90.
Yeah.
Go her. What a brilliant role model. That's fantastic.
Mm.
Well, thanks, my beautiful friends. Thanks for jumping on in with this today. I do love you both dearly, and we'll treasure our friendships.
Yeah.
Or here's to us getting older and better.
Here's to us. Off to a pub lunch.
To a pub lunch. Let's go. Thanks, fun. Bye. See you,
Okay.
Brody.
Bye.